All right, we'll call to order the Emergency Services Building Committee at 6:30 PM. Minutes are coming, a little bit of delay there. There was some glitches in the matrix. So they will be coming for our vote. Present to speak, anybody? Chair recognizes Peter Tanaka.
Peter Trussell, 125 Mason Road. How are we?
Good.
I just got a notice, this is terms of facilities. I just got a notice, yesterday that they're updating the telecommunications pole behind Station 13. I don't know what they're doing to it.
They want to.
I got paperwork that it was approved, I thought, from siting council.
They don't own it.
Yeah,
We do too. So they want to.
yeah. I think with the siting
Cell
council,
tower.
they don't care who owns it.
Yeah, but they, well, from a contractual perspective, the people are gonna care who owns it.
Anyways, I didn't, the packet was about 1.25 inches thick, so I looked at the pictures. Called it a day. The other thing was, Putnam came in with their $1 million truck.
Yep.
And their little remote control car, and it got about 15 feet up and hit a boulder. So I think we have a gravel issue. They're coming back Monday morning with a jet to jet the thing out and then try again. But to answer your question, yes, it does have GPS.
Okay, I think it's a moot point at this point, Peter, because we've got the alignment of the pipe.
Right.
We just don't know where it ends.
Right, and we're not sure that it's clear all the way through, because last I knew, the water was draining, but not.
Water drain runs, it doesn't back up out of it.
Yeah. But,
There's no, the only water that I could see going into that pipe was from the downspouts.
Yes,
Any foundation drain water, I have no idea where it goes.
there's no foundation drain work, other than.
Well, I explained what Adam Old problem.
What a surprise.
What's the,
Well, the pipes that run around the back of the building go somewhere,
Yeah,
Into the building.
and
Yeah.
the suspicion, the various suspicions have been maybe it drains out to daylight down in the brook up towards the other house to the north,
when we
or
poured,
does it drain into the catch basin?
so we poured water through the front ones, it came out in that culvert. But there is like front, now, is it a French drain? I don't know the actual name of the thing.
Yeah, the curtain drain around the back of the building.
That's what they're on the sides as well. But
but apparently they think that there's something that got buried when they built the road as well.
there's
So
no,
they wanna look at what it looks like inside it, so.
Yeah, well, there's a catch basin, there was a catch basin in the gravel parking lot,
Yeah.
it's now under pavement.
Yeah, they want
Which we've been
to,
talking about.
zero in on that and
Good.
find out where it is and see if that helps anything. I don't know if it will or not, but
I would just go out there and pull that line farther towards the back. And then we can dig a couple of test pits.
yeah, well, let's give these guys a shot for what we're paying for them. It's worth a shot.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you there. Yeah, I had a conversation with Troy before.
So that's what I got. Then we have a report of more molds.
Yeah, that is on the agenda.
Okay,
Agenda.
Okay, anything else, Peter?
oh, that's it.
Anybody else, I don't know about online, I'll see it. So. Do I have to do anything to get people in? They would show up.
They would show up
They
under,
would show up.
where it says participants and it
Yeah.
says one,
That's just us.
that's us.
That's us, we're the only one. Okay.
Can I just make a comment on that since you're
Yeah.
talking about it? We still do not have, we're still not sending out any live links for these meetings.
All right.
So we're not gonna get people coming online because they, first of all, they have to click like literally seven times on the website just to get to the agenda, which we shouldn't need to do. And then when they get there, it's just a scan.
Okay.
So there's nothing to click. So people would have to manually take the meeting ID and the passcode, which is not the hardest thing to do.
No, but it is, it does. It's
It
different
makes it
than
much
other
less
sports.
convenient and less people are gonna come aboard.
Okay.
Now that I have that information, I think we can fix it for your next meeting.
Yeah, lots of the other committees put out agendas with live links.
Yes, they do.
I would disagree with you on that, because I got the agenda printed 2 clicks on the homepage from on the website.
How did you route to it?
Homepage, the committee, drop down at the top. And then agendas.
Alright, well, if you go to agendas first, you have to go agenda and then.
I understand, yeah.
Okay,
As far as the live links go, I don't understand what the problem is with meeting ID and passcode. It's on the agenda. If you have Zoom on your computer, or if you can get the Zoom on your computer, you've got the
then you can
meeting ID.
manually enter it, yes,
Yeah, it's right
yes,
there.
but we build these all with live links, the live link should be on there.
That's not true for every other commission.
Many of the other committees have live links. I spent years, SBC, making sure ours went out with live links. I've done it month after month,
Okay.
meeting after meeting.
Anyway,
He did.
How did you get it done? Through, on the town website?
I just asked everyone, I put out when I sent it to the town clerk,
Right.
I said, please make sure the link stays live when you put out the agenda.
Right.
And everybody just did it. I don't know why everyone doesn't just do it without being asked.
Alright, cause I thought I asked that, but maybe I didn't ask.
well, I think typically what happens is Robin gets the agenda, she puts her
She
receipt.
puts receipt stamp and scan. it.
Photocopies it, scans it,
Right.
and that's what gets pushed out. Once it gets scanned, the links are no longer live.
Well, it can be done. We know it can be done. It's done by other committees, so.
Well, I'll figure it out.
Alright. Okay,
We had the same issue with land use.
Yeah.
And land use sends out the PDF that's created from Word,
right.
so the link stays live. But you'll notice there's no town clerk receive stamp on those agendas.
Okay,
That's the big difference.
Yeah, you can move a live link onto a PDF too, if you do it in the computer instead of doing the scanning, so they could electronic stamp the thing.
Well, there's some hiccups in the.
Well, clearly,
okay,
Anyway,
anyway, alright, allocation of ESPC funding update for this, for. Board of Finance update, that should be from the Board of Finance. So I talked to the Board of Finance last week, I think, and I learned a lot. I was sort of surprised at the pushback that we got about, they were very adamant and that this $200,000 could only be used for research and analysis. When I said, well, we don't need that much, they go, well, you have this money. Are you doing the right analysis? You need to, anyway, that it was mentioned several times that this money was meant for research and analysis. And I was a little bit surprised at that reaction, just because I thought that we were coming up with a viable solution to get emergency services up to the level that the residents have become accustomed to. I mean, not that it's deteriorating, but it's not sustainable, and we know that. Anyway, that got handed to me pretty solidly. What I did learn is that in order to change it, it would have to go back to town meeting, because this was voted on in a town meeting. For that, through CIP for this particular thing, it was not meant to purchase anything. And that's what the words they were used to guide me. So I would have to go to the Board of Finance, make them a recommendation that we allocate differently. And then they can approve it or not, and they would send their recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, who would then call a town meeting. And then some kind of process like that, as I understand it. So, based on that and what I heard, I really think the Board of Finance really wants to see a study. I think that they would need that, so we had talked about this location study, they referenced it, not by that name. I think that was, they mentioned that, Mike McCoo had a study that he was interested in. I'm getting the feeling that without that study, we're probably not going to be able to move forward, because the brain trust in this room doesn't seem to be enough, even though I said, all you're doing is paying a couple of consultants, and I wasn't trying to diminish their efforts, but I said, you're paying 2 consultants that have established themselves to do these studies. They're very knowledgeable, but I don't think they're any smarter than the people in the room, so, But that didn't really go
for
to
the last 20, 30
That was
years.
not convincing, you're right, I was there.
Yeah, right, did you,
That
I
was-
kinda like, James, you were there too, I did my best.
You did, and you tried persuading and they weren't
That-
having it.
They really weren't having it.
That was not going anywhere.
Right, it didn't really seem to be going anywhere, so,
And if I just add, Andy.
yeah,
I think they were also looking for a more specific number for our temporary domicile, so that they can say, oh, you have a actual price.
right,
The Board of Finance likes to act on,
right.
you know, concrete numbers, and we sort of had a budget idea, I think, but you're
Yeah,
one.
But I mean, but
But they
that
were
wasn't,
unhappy.
but that wasn't a formal presentation. I
No,
think.
no,
I
it
was
wasn't,
there.
but
I was there in the present to speak, it wasn't on agenda, it wasn't an agenda.
I was with you, but I think it confirmed in their minds that we were disorganized.
Can you speak to that, Trent? I mean, did you feel that,
I didn't feel that they necessarily thought we were disorganized. I have to say, we on both halves of this.
yeah.
We didn't feel like we were disorganized, no, but yes, I feel like a budget item for a specific trailer with the shipping costs and a specific amount for hookup, which we know is not a particularly easy thing to get without knowing all the things and having the trailer, is something that is more likely to pass. I don't feel like they quite understood the amount that the survey would cost, because it's a base amount. You pay the what, $30,000 or $29,995
$29,900.
or whatever, and you get the survey. I don't think they got that the survey was only going to cost that much. I really feel like they thought the $200,000 was going to be used up in finding all of these surveys and getting, I don't know how many different studies done.
Say, they brought up studies, they brought up, also in the meeting, they brought up, cause a lot of the money was allotted for Wellington Hill to get caught up with the way, you know, where 13 was set up, as far as blueprints and all that. And they took it and they put it to the study, and that's where they, well, we thought it was gonna go towards prints to get everybody caught up, and so, I mean, it's like they pretty much put the money here for us to do what we were gonna initially do, but they want this committee to do it, instead of finding a solution for everything.
Well, I think there was a disconnect, because I think you were trying to say that by not doing the $30,000 study, which we could do for $1,000 with Mike,
Well, it would be, yeah. it
would actually,
something.
actually increase our budget to do other things.
Well,
Or at least that's how it occurred to me. It
Right.
didn't occur that way to them. They didn't recognize that our number one priority right now, which is getting this temporary, structure, is part of that 200,000. There's like a total disconnect there.
Well-
You disagree?
No, I don't disagree with you in the slightest. The $200,000 was in the minds of the rest of the Board of Finance was earmarked specifically for research and education.
Studies.
That's what it was for. So in order
It's not
to,
even close to being true.
When I moved that money, I made sure that it was so that we could get.
Do stuff.
Where, can do stuff.
then what we
I-
need is,
I think I need to come back to that, yeah, we need the minutes and.
and show that to the Board of, and I can take
Right.
that to the Board of Finance and make the argument
Alright.
that the.
That
money was
when I
never
moved the money, it went
earmarked.
from, surveys and plans for 49 to getting stuff, making the steps necessary to keep 13 active and to
There's a-
figure out where we're going.
There's a disconnect in the definition of what this committee is for. The definition of this committee, according to the Board of Finance, is research. Our definition from our meetings of what we are here to do is functionality. And we want to make it so that things are working again.
Right. And I believe that
They
the
want
charge of the committee that Mike, I take credit for it, but I can't, Mike wrote it.
Well, I didn't write all of that.
Oh. who wrote the rest of it then, 'cause
I don't know,
I.
that was a hodgepodge of different things from.
Okay, so we'll
And
take a look at.
I believe
look at
Shannon,
that.
I believe Shannon may have helped some with that.
I think she may have too.
But if you can get me the minutes, then I can review them, I can take them to the Board of Finance, and I can make the argument that, no, we're not supposed to be just a research committee, we are actually a functionality committee.
Well, especially
I
right
think
now.
that may be in the minutes of the.
And it's in the
Board of
charge.
Selectmen as well.
It's
In
in
the
the
charge of
charge.
the committee.
Now,
It is the charge in front of the Board of Finance.
I'm curious to know what Britton and yourself, Andy, think, because I kind of read between the lines on this, and I think the reason they want the 200,000 focused on studies, analysis, and they kept saying expertise. And I think what they were really saying was, they don't think we're gonna be objective, that we're part of the town, because we're all stupid. Some of the things that,
Thank you all so much.
you know, and they want outside people to come in and look at this more objectively than we would.
They do want.
The problem with that
outside
is that there's been numerous studies done over the years that have, on different subjects, to relating to emergency services. People ask for studies, they pay boatloads of money, of taxpayers' money for studies, and because they don't like what the study says, they do nothing with it. And then when something like this comes up again, let's do a study again to shut them up.
I tried to say that.
That's exactly what happens, this cyclical line of BS that constantly happens.
I did reference that, I said, what if you get a study and it says to do something that we're not willing to do,
Right.
what was the value?
Plus, you said, Andy, that ultimately, whether the family that does these studies, I guess there are many different.
Yeah, right,
families
that's
that-
true. Right.
Um,
One happened to be.
they're going to obtain their data from Tyler.
Right.
If Mike does the study, they're going to obtain their data from Tyler.
Right.
So I'm confused
So
about,
one of the things I think would make it a little bit easier to move forward with the studies that we have is if I can just bring the studies to the Board of Finance, because one of the things that one of the members, I think it was Steph, said was that she hasn't seen the previous studies. So fine, let's give them the previous studies.
Like the ones from the
where
nineties.
are those?
Oh, Ralph gave them to us on his zip drive.
Yeah.
Oh, the zip drive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I haven't been able to look at them.
Well, would you be willing to work with me on a presentation?
Like, what's
I think it would be appropriate that it came from this committee, rather than you just doing it as a member of it, but maybe we can work together on that. When's the next meeting? Is it in August?
Yeah, it's every
Think so.
third Thursday.
Third Thursday, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right, so,
So why, can I ask why you think that they wanna see those like historical studies?
So one of the things that I heard through the entire budget cycle and in this previous meeting was that studies have been done, but the Board of Finance has not physically seen them. So, okay, if that is the sticking point, then let's show them.
Okay.
And they can look at
that's
them.
fine, all right.
If that's the thing that's holding this all up.
Well,
I
then,
can't tell you how many times I've heard it.
So Tyler made a good point, and it's one of the things that sometimes gives me frustration is we have this sort of Groundhog Day thing. And for those of us in the fire departments, this Groundhog Day thing is also a longer cycle of every few years. We repeat a lot of these conversations and everyone gets all back up to speed again. And then you go to the next meeting and someone doesn't remember how somebody said it at a meeting, and next thing you know, we're in a situation like this.
Right.
Where we're in a short groundhog cycle, because I was at the CIP meeting. With all due respect to the selectman, he didn't move the money, CIP changed the definition of the money that was originally in the plan for Willington Hill. And then said, let's put that money at a CIP meeting, let's redefine the plan and put that money into the work of the building committee that Pete Tanaka was talking about forming at the time, because this was still in CIP season.
right.
And talk of this committee was percolating, but as we know, we percolated for a long time before we started doing anything. And so now we're dealing with people maybe remembering correctly or incorrectly what happened back last fall in CIP. Cause that's really where this all started. And I believe the definition was broader than just study. I think it was supposed to support functionality also.
and ultimately, the board of selectmen approve CIP plan.
And the townspeople approved the CIP plan, which I think is the sticking point. The Board of Finance is saying, we think this, the townspeople approved the CIP plan that said this money is for research and experts.
Right, that is what they said.
And so then they're saying, because that's what the taxpayers approved, we need to either follow that or apply, ask them to change their approval.
Right,
I don't think that's what they approved.
yeah.
I think what they approved was for the use of the committee within a broader parameters of research, expertise, consultants, functionality.
Mhm.
That was my understanding anyway, and now I may be remembering it
Yeah,
wrong.
right.
That was like last October or something.
Well, there seemed to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, either one of you, real panic when it sounded like we were gonna apply any of that $200,000 to trail.
To buy some, right, they made it certain.
That
to
did
buy.
not go well.
It
for
didn't.
us.
And I mean, but I,
So if that's the case, what's the other source of funding is what I'm wondering.
well, I think that we're on the right track here to simply say, look, that. At least at this current juncture, until we, let's just, until we decide that a new building is necessary, we're not gonna spend any money on plans. I mean, sooner or later, if that is the decision, then that $200,000 won't be enough, so to get started, because that's when you actually go out to bid and you've got people coming in and there's construction plans and.
Do they mean to spend, like, as that $200,000 you mentioned, like blueprints, like, is that supposed to pay for some sort of planning and design process? Is that supposed to pay for exploratory, I mean, like, research could be like exploratory excavation?
Yep.
And it could be brought in, it could be like air testing and like
Yes,
And
ground penetrating radar scanning for whatever, like
Sure.
it could be brought into
But
that,
is-
not just like a bit like a data survey.
yes, yeah, it
But-
can be those things, but it cannot be,
But then it's clearly not
Physical.
enough.
it can't be physical
Right.
items.
can't buy stuff. I.
Right, that would work.
Think
Or
about it.
return.
Or plans for it,
Right.
planning.
I think
design
we should bring
for
this
it.
up.
But that is an
I was gonna say
idea.
that.
Yeah, it looks like
Still
for
do
everybody.
Plans under that,
Looking at
yes.
everybody covers can.
Don't we have other, I keep hearing references to these other pockets of money for the various things, both departments for doing planning and so forth, for, you know, future buildings. Can we use that instead and stay in sync with their expectations here?
That was the 200,000. That was in the CIP plan for Willington Hill to continue with design work. And that was changed at the CIP meeting.
Oh, those moved from
To-
there to here.
That
Okay.
200,000 was moved to this purpose, the one we're debating right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking through minutes right now trying to find it. I don't know if I'll be able to do it while we're meeting.
no, that's fine. I think that, I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, those other minutes would be helpful. When I was, after the meeting, I kind of got the idea that I think what maybe they were expecting is that the committee got together and we decided that we need a new firehouse, it's gonna cost $15 million, here's the plan. And that's what we spent the money on, I kind of, that's,
Far away.
I know, but that was the feeling, that was
Yeah.
the feeling that I kind of got, that maybe that's what they were expecting this committee to come forth with. Well, a concrete plan about how to manage public safety for the next 50 years, and it's like, yeah, we're doing that. We didn't wanna get a trailer, that's how we're doing it for the next
And
50
in the
years.
interim, before we get this $15 million
Yeah, right.
built, we
Right.
don't have the functionality that we
Correct.
need to
And-
keep our people safe.
I
I wasn't
wasn't,
think they understood that goal at all.
no,
Do they understand the problem?
They're working on it.
Like that there is a problem that needs to be solved?
I don't think they did, I mean, my
Like, let's
initial.
start at the beginning, like,
Well, right, I mean, that was the point of the meeting, to give a warning, what I call a warning, to let them know that this is what we're doing, this is what's gonna happen. And then they got into the weeds pretty quick, they started
Yes.
getting very detailed, and then I wasn't really expecting that much. But I'm glad they were interested, we talked for probably 45 minutes, it was a major part of the
It
meeting.
was until the yelling broke out later.
Yeah, right.
Not longer than I thought.
Yeah, me too, so maybe then, I guess, if the group would approve it. I think now that, now they know, so now they're interested. So now when we start giving them information, maybe they'll pay attention, not that they wouldn't before then, I just mean now they're interested, their minds are open, they're thinking about it, they go, what the hell are they talking about? So if we get these other reports, my original plan was to take pictures, I have the pictures that that Alex sent me of the damage, and I could go into the history, the timeline, show the damage, shows what, you know, find out what happened, or just explain what the impact is to the town, why it's not sustainable. And then really just start all over again. And then talk again about the various studies that are available, that we are considering. And just take it up a little more professional, not just a conversation, but a real presentation. And if you're willing to help me on that, Britt, that'd be great.
I also feel like if we were to present to them, you know, what the studies that they want to see, so they want a site study, they want a heat map, they want, you know, the various studies that we've been discussing here. If we were to come up with a selection of studies that we think that they would want to see with the prices that they go for, and then show them that all of the studies are not necessarily going to use up all the funds, and we'd still have money left for this trailer that would give us the functionality for the next 5 years, while we're working on perhaps doing this $15 million building, then I think that would be more palatable to them than just saying, well, first we want to do this and then we'll talk about these other things that you want. They want studies, so let's give them studies.
Are they aware of what the inside of Station 13 looks like right now?
I will be.
They will.
Right.
They are, because Alex has presented this to the Board of Finance
Multiple times.
multiple times.
They've been
This is
invited to
nothing
go.
to-
Okay,
This is the result
How
of
they've been.
trying to get
Yeah.
somebody to do something.
Yeah.
Most of them, yes.
Yeah.
CIP, between CIP, Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen, they've been there.
Yeah, we had a meeting there last year.
We had a board of selectmen meeting down there. Yes. Well,
This isn't new.
whatever.
that said, I will take a contrarian view here to some extent. We should focus on the positive. I think we've made a lot of progress with identifying the condition of the inside of the buildings.
Mhm.
Ralph's analysis of that drainage. It looks like we can resolve the water problem. Andy, you secured, you know, town resources with Troy's machines and other towns' equipment.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
We're going in a good direction. Stay away from this woe to us, the mold's coming back, crisis talk.
Mhm.
You know, because that's just I could see like a gloom and doom cloud settling over the whole Board of Finance. And oh my God, this is gonna be a runaway budget, these guys don't know what they're doing, it's a disaster, we need outside help, hence we want more expertise. And it's not you guys, you know, so let's focus on the positive, we're solving this problem. We are, you know, we're gonna. Even you, Andy, made it sound like the building was unusable when I was listening to you.
It is.
It's not, that is not true.
It is.
Well, it's true, Peter. Are our trucks not in there or are they not?
They are
They're
not.
not.
They're
Why?
not.
That's what I'm here to
They
report on
can't be
tonight.
in there.
Why not? Because the air study failed horribly.
Well, then I'm.
They can't even store their.
I can't put
safety
equipment in
equipment
there. I can't
They
have people
can't
go
store
in there. I
their
can't have a
equipment
truck.
in there. Nothing.
So we
that's-
haven't, that information is not on that is not in the public record yet, so
It is
we're
now.
gonna do it.
It's item C on the agenda.
We're coming to that.
Okay,
We're coming to that.
I guess we're doubling down on doom and gloom, go ahead.
Alright, so, just so. I guess, to keep this somewhat formal. Because, it probably is a little too conversational at times, Guess I'm gonna make a motion that, Britt and I work together to do a formal presentation to the Board of Finance. Outlining the various, the past studies, to show what damage has been done and. A more formal presentation of what our, solutions are to include the temporary crew dormitory and the drainage, all of that. In a more formal package, and then discuss financing with them and what would be the road forward to allocate money or reallocate, if indeed we have to, based on the minutes from the CIP meeting. That's the motion.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Hang on.
Oh,
I'm
just discussion.
formulating my discussion.
Okay, you got that?
Just for process here. One of the things that has concerned me all along in how long it took to even get this committee started and still concerns me is that. I think all of our meetings are important. I think we're accomplishing things, but we spend a lot of hours talking. and we spend 2 weeks in between, and then we have more hours talking, and in the meantime now, we are really, with it being the end of July now, we're really coming up hard on deadlines
Okay.
to do something. Even the one thing we've agreed on is we need some sort of a housing solution for Wellington
Right.
One, and we're gonna come up fast on winter.
Okay, very good point.
So I don't think this is a bad idea. I just think as we're going along with this now, waiting for the next board of finance meeting to have a chat.
Yep.
Then that chat maybe leads us to more action in another meeting, which then leads us to send a recommendation to the board of selectmen, which is a recommendation to the board of finance, back to the board of selectmen.
And maybe.
And so now and maybe a town meeting. Now we're talking,
October.
at the best, we're talking a couple more months.
How do we cut through all that noise?
So, I have. We haven't really heard the report yet on here. But
Right.
now it seems to me it's becoming an emergency.
Well, I'm just
Because-
talking, I'm talking about this motion.
Well, the whole thing, we were just talking about getting something done. Right now, it sounds to me. That building's out, so you have nothing down there, right? You might as well just say the building is there, right? That's not good for the town of Wellington. Town of Wellington sitting here now, is the service gonna drop? We don't know until something really happens because they're not there now. Cause we know how it's been. Can we push this up and say it's an emergency? You got an emergency problem here now.
Maybe
And
that's.
we can go through this, Dave, weeks, months, years. It's not gonna happen until, this can get done in 3 weeks. But if we have to go through all this, it's not gonna ever get done.
I think this is, the motion is about something we need to do.
Okay,
I just am concerned about the amount of time.
Yeah, yeah,
this
that's right. Yeah.
was
There you go.
on.
slow churn.
Now we're coming into budget season, and the appetite for people to deal with this other stuff is gonna get less.
Yep.
And they're gonna be tied up with budget season. CIP has already started. They already had their first meeting for the new season.
All right, I mean, everybody on these commissions are just residents and we know them. How do we cut through this noise? How do we get out of this filtered
No,
process?
I'm just about at the right spot in the minutes though, so maybe I'll have something that we can use.
No, I mean, just anecdotally, how do we cut through the noise?
I think if we can find legitimate information in the minutes, that could be part of your presentation. And you could say, we reviewed the minutes, here's what CIP approved, which is what went to the taxpayers, and maybe that helps with the conversation with the Board of Finance. Understanding what CIP
Yeah,
was intending when they approved it,
and you've been on the board. Were you ever chair of the Board of Finance?
yes, for 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Can someone contact you directly outside of a meeting and not have it be ex parte communication?
Yeah.
All right.
You can't have a quorum.
Right, but I, as just a resident, can go and contact the chairman, whose
Yeah.
name just flew out of my head.
Bruce Roller.
Yeah, Bruce. I could say exactly this conversation. I will recount this conversation and say, this has been elevated. This is now a little more imperative. And we really need to do something.
Yeah, if we find the right information in the minutes, you could forward him the minutes and say, hey, for discussion, we plan on coming to meet and talk to you about this, here's what's in the minutes, whatever. You can do that.
I would even ask, is there any way you can get a special meeting? Cause it might be worth it. We spent 45 minutes to 1 hour. It might be worth asking for a special meeting.
When is the next Board of Finance meeting? It's what, four,
Thursday of August.
yeah, it's like 4 weeks away.
That's a long
4.5
time.
weeks
I think
away.
that's too long.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
Sorry to interrupt. There has
Don't
been,
discuss the motion.
you would hear this in the next section, but there is a letter to the Board of Selectmen. That was sent by Wellington Fire Department number 1 because of the changes to that station for a special meeting to include at least the chairman of the Board of Finance.
Okay, cool.
So they've already received that?
They received that this week.
So that dovetails sort of nicely with that I will do tomorrow. And have a conversation with Bruce and.
I don't know if Peter sent that out to Bruce yet,
uh,
but there was a request that to Peter for a meeting
Perfect.
with the Board of
Oh,
Selectmen,
good.
at least the chairman of the Board of Finance,
That's-
because. We'll get into that when you get on to the next
Yeah,
section.
that's fine. All right, so the motions, and so regardless of how we move to accelerate this. The formal presentation still will need to take place to the. Board of Finance at some point, maybe it'll be a special meeting, which would be probably best, now that I've said that out loud. The fact that we spent so much time on it during the regular meeting, it might, even the Board of Finance might like that as well. We'll see if we can accelerate this. So the motion is still on the table, it's been made and seconded. Can I call it to a vote? Is there any further discussion?
No.
But the addendum to that would be, I will see if we can accelerate it more quickly than waiting for the third Thursday of August.
The regular meeting.
Yeah, the regular meeting.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? So moved. Okay, next item was, I just lost it. Hang on, I'm getting back.
Update on culvert inspection.
Oh, yeah, culvert
I
inspection.
think we already pretty much covered that under person to speak.
Okay, so
Mr.
what I heard was, Putnam did their thing. How come they hit a boulder at 50 feet and you were able to go 100 feet?
Cause I got a little track robot and theirs is on wheels.
It wouldn't roll over the rocks.
Were you down
They just finished up,
there? Oh, today?
yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
So, and they are gonna come back. I heard him say they're gonna try to hydraulically
Back and
Yeah.
and try to get that.
Wash out the ground.
So and they have the different equipment to do that than just a fire hose or something.
Yeah, they got a big drain truck that they're gonna
That is-
run a line up there. And
Okay.
flush it out, cause the head goes off all
Yeah.
different directions, so they can
Okay.
pull the stuff out
Where's all the stuff gonna go, by the way?
To the outlet.
to the outlet.
Downstream?
Well, it'll sit in that gully next to Route 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's some capacity there.
There's not much of a
That's in
sump
there.
in that gully.
Well, how much could be in the pipe, really? Could be a lot.
And there is a lot in that pipe. You
It's not
haven't seen,
heavy.
you haven't seen the video.
It's not heavy.
So Andy,
It's just awkward.
how long would it take us to mobilize, once Putnam brings their $1 million truck back and confirms more of his pipe location? How long would it take for us to mobilize town assets and possibly even contractors to resolve the drainage, so we stop talking about this?
So I would be,
Okay.
town engineer drawing up a plan and.
Well, let's think about that for a second, Pete. I understand what you're saying, but if the mold issue has recurred, as has been alluded to,
Alluded, yes.
okay, and well, now, once Alex has a chance to explain.
Alluded.
What are we gonna do? They're gonna be looking at a new building.
Why can't we just eliminate the source of the moisture?
I mean, that's like the world is the source of moisture.
Okay, so we'll take down everything sitting on that
Right.
foundation, we'll get rid of the moisture problem,
Get rid of the
and then
foundation
what?
probably. Definitely not $9,000.
We don't have the footprint for a building that will satisfy the building.
You could probably have a study.
Yeah, I know. We need a study. That's what we need.
Whether we had some money.
Well, that's what the 200.
Throw something at you, but all these things are valuable.
So
We could-
are you
we
saying
could-
we're
we-
wasting our time by locating the pipe?
No, here's the
Drainage?
advantage, that pipe could be utilized. In whatever the ultimate plan is, to provide drainage. To the bottom of that hillside, so we don't have a replay of this whole situation. But we need to know where it is, how it fits into the whole site, and the other thing is, how quickly is DOT gonna act on relinquishing a portion of their right of way to the general?
A year,
Usually,
DOT could be a year.
I don't know, hopefully,
that's not the impression I had from our legislators. They seem to think that there could be a letter of intent that could convey property to us long before they finally act on it.
well, that would be great, but I mean, the point is. We can't do much of a plan there if we're gonna be consistent with zoning regulations on the property as it exists today. That building sits as close as it can be to the front property line. Now, of course, we can go for variance and all that other copy.
We need to find solutions, not obstacles.
I'm sorry,
We need to find solutions, not obstacles.
and I think continuing on exploring this 24-inch pipe is great as far as site drainage. Groundwater drainage, we can still utilize it for that as long as it's not in the way of any ultimate future plan.
Okay,
That's why I think locating it is important.
So locating it and clearing it is something that should have happened a year ago. This, the fact that we're not there is not excusable. It's malfeasance on, I don't know, Public Works, on Willington One, whoever, on not finding the problem and getting that thing open. We've been talking about it for 16 months now.
Completely agree with you, Mike.
The idea that we walk around for 16 months saying we have a water problem and we know there's a problem with the drainage. And we know there's a catch basin covered with pavement, but we're not doing it, we're not fixing it, we're not out there ourselves with shovels digging it up. Has led to a situation where now I'm assuming the chief is gonna tell us that the building can't be saved. So we have potentially finished ruining a town asset by not handling the emergency. So we've gotta get our butts in gear. If there's anything left to be saved, we need to find the drainage and open the stupid drainage. I have volunteered for a year, I'll go down with my own damn backhoe and dig it up. Which I shouldn't do, because it's town, private, whatever else, I'm just saying, we have to stop being in discussion. And we've gotta do something.
Absolutely.
We're potentially ruining public
completely
assets by
agree.
not doing anything.
I completely
So let's
agree.
find the damn drain,
yeah,
let's dig the thing up, if there's anything left to save on that property, let's save it.
yeah, that's
And
perfect.
Troy would be down there next week with his excavator. To find that.
So let's get the thing done and let's see if there's anything left to save on the property.
There may be nothing.
If there's nothing left to save on the property, we still know where the stuff is, it's an asset we gotta find anyway, and whatever else goes there on that property is gonna need drainage.
Really should be using a contractor that can go in there and dig it up the right way and put in new drainage if need be. Not just Troy, it's not Troy.
Well, and we should be doing something, because the town bidding process is hard, because money ran out, there's all these reasons that we're not getting it done right now.
The advantage of having Troy do it is, we don't need a budget for it.
Cost, right, I understand,
Right.
but.
Right.
We're gonna be. like
And
Mike said,
Peter
keep kicking the can.
Tanaka will make sure Troy's there to do it.
I don't know.
Right. I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying, Mike. We need to move forward here, stop talking about it. The perception is, unless you give us a new building, nothing can happen, and that's absurd.
But that's not.
No, we have to have a study first.
No one ever said that. No one ever suggested coming across loud and clear, I thought came to the Board of Finance, you know, and that's not good. It puts us in a bad place.
All right. Well, I think, we know what's important. We are moving forward on it. 16 months ago, we weren't here. We couldn't drive it forward. I think that, when you put together a committee composed of us, which just like all these other funds, it's just regular people from town. This is a pretty good group of people, and we're carrying some weight, and people are listening, and that's good. So let's keep their attention and keep pushing this stuff forward. And like you're like what Ralph was saying about the town, it's kind of good using the town because we don't have to ask permission. We can actually get stuff done. It may not be perfect, maybe.
No, but it's a lot easier
maybe,
than dealing with the whole
right,
capital
maybe,
process. and
Keller
everything
or
else, right?
Sago or somebody else would
Yep.
do it a little more professionally, but also would be hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then we'd have to ask for that, where if Troy's doing it, they do drainage, they do a lot of drainage, they do know what they're doing, they're not.
I just
We're
wanna
not
kill
walls.
off Mike's comment real quick, because he said that we haven't done anything with the drainage. It's not true. Water does move through those pipes away from that building.
I
We have
realize,
dug it up.
that,
We have fixed what we can fix. We have gotten the town engineer to come in and look to see what else needs to be done. That is above, anything above that is above our scope, and we don't have the money to do anything further.
yeah. I agree, and you have reported throughout this entire 16 months, you have reported on steps you've taken,
Yep.
no question. But I still think a lot more could be done. Literally, people have offered to start helping dig around the building. You could have people with shovels on work session nights digging. Like we could have done more in 16 months and potentially saved maybe the building from being wrecked.
Okay.
Okay. So. Recent mold report. Chief, tell us, is the building absolutely will never ever to be used?
That I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. All I know is the numbers are exceptionally high. Throughout the building. The backside of the building is worse than the front. Which we all know. But we're told we should not have people in there, should not be responding to calls out of there, we should.
Told by who?
Service Master by Mason, who's the ones that did the testing. We have the report, he did make a request to the Board of Selectmen, and they're going to come in and meet with the Board of Selectmen.
So it's unsafe for human habitation, even,
They said not.
even, not even vehicles, right, because the
No,
mold
because
is.
because people, the trucks are sitting in there, then people are going to get
Sure.
into the trucks.
So
And we made
once we come to winter, that basically means that that ambulance, which has to be housed in a warm facility, does not have a home currently,
So
so we're down to
currently-
one.
So currently, one is sitting in Stafford in a bay there. They're letting, huh?
Great.
So Stafford is allowing us to use a bay to house an ambulance. The fire truck and the trailer are at Public Works, which only can stay there a couple months until it starts getting cold.
Alright,
So the report that was obtained, we, Ron, I and the board of directors, I think, of the fire department, did a quick review of it. And basically, as it sits right now, the report states that it's not, for lack of a better phrase, fit for human habitation.
Mhm.
Gear should be stored in there, people should not be in there, fire trucks should not be in there. We immediately, and I'll speak for Ron, we immediately made a decision that instead of us coming and reporting the intricacies of a report that is extremely detailed, extremely technologically advanced regarding mold spores and growth and types of different mold, we all mutually agreed that we should have Alex, reach out and call a meeting with everybody that's involved in this, including the person that did all of the environmental testing to come in and explain his findings in layman's terms, instead of having us do it.
sure,
I.e., a consultant.
absolutely.
Let him report on it, and instead of us trying to do our best to say, we can't be in there, why, I don't know. We'll let this person that does this for a living decide and explain to everybody why we can't be in there. We have not gone down the road, as far as I know, regarding any type of mitigation or any type of cleaning that can be done to make it habitable, I have no idea. And we're gonna wait until this gentleman does his presentation, all the questions that anybody has will be asked of them at the public meeting that will be had.
So the last time we had one of these air quality studies, you did an awful lot of mitigation work to.
At their instruction, yeah.
Yeah, and
It's about
so,
$25,000.
right, so now the question is, after this next study where the mold issue is as bad or worse than it was the first time, is there really any level of mitigation that you can even do at this
We
point?
don't know.
I
We're
don't,
leaving it up to the
Right.
experts to make
Yeah.
a recommendation.
I really don't know.
But it's looking, not to borrow Peter's term, a little doom and gloomy there on whether.
Well, I mean, if you, from a step perspective, if the gentleman, or the people come in and say, listen, this is a report, this is why this is happening. If we can provide mitigating efforts to stop it from occurring, and the place can, people mitigate mold all the time.
Sure.
If they can clean it and make use of it,
Thank
then
you.
we'll be back in there tomorrow.
Thank
Are
God.
they assuming that the mold, the insulation that's like in between the two layers of the skin of the shell though, is where like a lot of it is being trapped or?
So not in the,
Sequestered,
it would be in the back, because I think there's nothing there, right? Down to the studs.
And that's the.
No, the
that's
insulation and isn't there insulation in
In
the?
the front.
It's in the skin, but it's only on the
Right,
sides.
only on
and
the
front.
sides.
It ends about where the office is.
I mean,
Well,
but
I'm all
still
over high.
And the
a
ceilings.
fair amount
Above,
and it goes
They tested
all the way to the
it today,
roof,
I'll
so
hold
it's
it.
a fair amount of insulation.
Yeah.
yeah.
and moldy.
I mean, and relatively speaking, I mean, if you can rip out all of the insulation like on the roof, the ceiling is fully exposed. You can tear all that down
Right.
and basically spray the Jesus on the place with methyl bad crap to kill, whatever.
You can
know,
get that building
we want-
fairly easily back to just
Yeah.
metal and then just metal
Absolutely.
after treatment. Is it gonna
Absolutely.
continue to be moldy?
And then we can put fire trucks in there. Then you can put people in.
You get back to being a garage at
Yes,
a minimum.
Yes, yes.
All right.
And that's our ultimate goal.
Do your guys' exhaust system turn on at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's been running.
It has? Okay.
Yeah. The exhaust has been running, it's been hit.
Which evidently draws in mold.
Well, how
Yeah, but
humid
it
the last,
also pulls the
the last
humidity
month,
out.
it's been so
That's
humid.
Right, right, right.
Again, we only reviewed, and Ron probably, knows more than any of us. I'm not a mold expert. That's why you have these people come in and do this, and let them explain exactly what the process needs to be. I personally, I find it extremely hard to believe that someone's gonna say, well, there's mold in it, you know, hit it with a bulldozer and level it. I just don't see that as a possibility. Maybe in the world you work, I don't know, maybe, but it's a steel building, for God's sake. It's gotta be able to be cleaned, at least get us to the point you can shove in animals, a fire truck and a foam trailer in there and put the guys back to work. So everybody in town has an equal shot at emergency services. The bottom line is this, as you sit today, with that firehouse being vacant of apparatus, we are operating at a disadvantage to the people that live in the northern side of Wilmington. Anybody north of 74, excuse me, is at a disadvantage right now. There's no doubt about it from a response perspective. It's just a fact. It's a
Where
fact.
are all the trucks now that would be in those bays?
But
Well, Alex just explained where they were.
Right,
They have some down the south station,
I heard
Public
about
Works.
this. I mean, the other trucks, the fire trucks.
There, there's.
Yeah, I just said it.
Public Works.
Public Works.
Public Works. So,
But that's
One fire truck
temporary,
and
they
double-
can't stay there over the winter.
They cannot.
'Cause
Right,
they
so-
use that
Or you
space
can,
for-
or you can empty the tank and throw it outside if you like. You know, but what else you gonna do? I mean, then the fire becomes unusable.
Well, that, it certainly sounds like we've reached an emergency situation.
So
which
we
certainly
can make
is
a
really
request to go to the
important.
board.
actually
drive
raises,
this forward.
raises an interesting question, Andy.
Which is,
Both our legislators have said, short of an emergency situation, you know, they can't
yeah,
tap into a lot of resources, but if we do that, then that's an entirely different ballgame according to them.
well, then, let's, no, well, I will,
But I'm hesitant even now, as
Alex, what is the meeting?
when I was exploring some
I asked
common
Pete,
sense
he's still waiting
solutions
to
here.
set it up.
He's waiting to set it up. So, Mr. Chairman, why don't you, if possible,
yes,
encourage the first selectman to engage the person that did the study, get
I
them
will.
on ASAP with every single concerned party or subsidiary of the town of Wilmington, including the Board of Finance, CIP, and any other person that wants to sit and listen to it. Get that meeting immediately. That mean, before we know, we need to know whether the building is salvageable. If that's the case, it can be mitigated, well, then we have a direction. Right now, we're just kind of sitting there floundering, talking about worst case scenarios. We have no idea.
Is ServPro, that's who you use, right?
Service Master.
ServMaster. I mean, are they qualified, like?
Yeah.
To
Yes,
say,
yeah.
not, to say that it's like salvageable.
I have no idea.
That was the second half of that statement.
I think the question is, can it be mitigated? That's
Right,
what I would
I feel
hope they
like
would like.
that's a stretch for Service Master, to say the building staff is salvageable.
That.
But like, clearly, it's like coming like, there's more issues than just the surface mold creating air quality
Yeah,
issues with the full building, right?
drainage.
So I feel like that maybe is a bit, but outside of their scope of like foundation assessment, et cetera.
Yeah.
But the mold issue, service,
Can it be
obviously,
mitigated?
yes,
Yeah,
can be
that's-
mitigated to be
Yeah.
usable
and
for this
Alright,
purpose.
and can we get a plan together to ensure proper drain where it goes, where it's gotta go? Tom hit on an interesting point. Where, you know, you may get to the point where you just. Dig everything up around the damn fires and put in all brand new stuff.
yeah.
And then we can keep the building, you know, that might be the easiest thing to do, I don't know.
Or
Do we
build
need
a
service-
new one on the property, at least it'll have good drainage.
Do we need Service Master to tell us that like maybe we should demo the rest of what's there right now, that's like an absorbent material? Like, do we need them to tell us that, or can we just do it?
The what?
What one would
To
think,
take down the rest of the studs and stuff like that.
Right.
Clean the rest of the building up, get it done.
Right,
I would think that they're mitigation specialists, I would
we
think.
need to wait for them to tell us
Yes.
that, like, I think that's the answer.
but I think they tell them you stop the water, they can give us a remediation plan, because that's what they do,
Agreed.
that's their business.
They would probably do it even if we don't stop the water, because they don't really care, they would, we.
Because then they
Yeah.
can come back again, they can come back again, under the contract.
Right.
I mean, they're
Just like last year and this year.
Right, but I mean, they're two separate things. So we don't have to wait for the drainage for them to do their work. Those could be happening concurrent.
As long as they say that, yes, if you can mitigate this is what you need to do,
Yeah.
go.
And right, if they say that, well, are you all right, if they're gonna come before the Board of Selectmen and I'm there, you okay with me asking, all right, how much would it cost to mitigate the mold?
More information, the better, man.
I'm kind of thinking that if it is mold, probably the folks on the town crew, they probably don't want to go in there and start.
No, you can't, you're gonna have to get.
You're gonna have to have professionals.
Yeah, because they gotta be all trained to take out mold. That means they're gonna be suited up to go in there, so like any.
But,
But that's it.
Let's
That's
try
his
to
removal.
give Pete a boost.
yeah, no, I will, I mean,
Let's do it.
he's off Friday, but I'll give him a call tomorrow. The stuff that is in there that would not be through, like the studs would go, you don't need to save any of the wood or anything. But how much, is there a place to put the stuff that is in there that you would want to save?
I don't think there's much
There's
in
not
there.
much left in there, okay. I thought when I
All
left.
that stuff that was in the northmost bay,
Quite a bit out of it.
okay, and is it clean?
I wouldn't trust anything in the building right now.
Okay.
I honestly.
So you still have to address if that stuff is savable and cleanable and all that. Okay.
But I mean, things like metal, stainless steel tables, you put them outside, the mold
Yeah.
will go away. Alright, so.
Yeah, those things, we have places to, well,
So,
we're running out of room, but yeah.
right, but it's, let's say, Board of Selection says, yeah, let's do it, and they're ready to start doing mold mitigation. In the meantime, Troy's doing his war gaming to get drainage done. You could respond fairly quickly to getting everything done.
Yep.
Okay, good enough, okay. So on my list then, talk to Peter.
Personnel.
So sorry, but, you seem to have a better line on the Nuccio Gordon track. Could you let them know that this building now is not usable? So,
They don't know that,
They
it's
don't
true, they
know
don't know
that.
that, in fact, I was telling them the opposite, that we were making good progress,
Yeah.
because I assumed we were.
Tell them now the mold is making good progress, and
Yes.
right now we are behind.
so are you comfortable doing
I'm
that?
comfortable
The
doing
mold is
that.
in the lead.
I've also advised that get a hold of, Roger, or
Carl,
Carl, and get him going on the drainage design,
okay.
so that, we can get,
At least put them on
into action as quickly as possible here.
We will certainly,
I think he's done some work on this
I
already,
think
but
he has.
if I remember, so have him dust that off and, and how complex the drainage around us, it's not a metal building big.
Okay, good.
It's not just around the metal building, it's what's coming off that hill.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. But but at least, what Putnam might do on Monday, that might open up some eyes and give us more information and maybe actually find the end and the catch basin, which would save time and anything can be tied into, that's good, so.
Yeah, if they open up the catch basin and find it's plugged with gravel, which is possible considering there's gravel in the outflow pipe.
That's right.
If the catch basin's full of gravel and they can, and vac that out.
Yeah.
The contractor's in town right now backing out catch basins.
Okay,
Let them swing in and
sweet.
suck the gravel out of the catch
There
basin.
was a lot of
Then-
gravel in there.
Then you find out, then you can start finding out if the pipes upstream or downstream are full, whatever. There's no way the drainage is gonna work right if the catch basin's full of gravel, and something's got gravel in it, cause the outflow pipe's got gravel.
If the catch basin's even still there.
I think it's there, I mean, who's gonna go through the work of getting rid of it?
Yeah.
I'm sure they just capped over it.
That's probably what happened, yes.
Are you comfortable contacting Carl Azamovic? And I know you've kind of been on this over thing.
Oh, I can call them.
Did anyone ask Lucian if he remembers what happened to the catch basin?
Lucian's been working the last 2 days, he has no idea.
He doesn't remember, okay,
Alright,
cause he's got a lot of this stuff in his head.
so, Peter, you're gonna contact our fearless legislators.
Basically saying we're minus one building at the
Yep,
moment.
and let them know that the ambulance isn't staffed,
Staffed.
that can't be the best place for it. And
We have two, don't we?
Yeah.
One is here.
One is to the south.
One is at the south station.
Okay.
yep. And then Ralph can do that, Ralph can stay on top of that. Alright, so, and then my job is to contact Bruce Lawler and Peter Tanaka.
Now, what's the point of my talking with Carl? Cause I've already talked with Carl.
Well, just tell them that we are all fired up. We want him to get ready to spring into action.
Excuse me.
Final drainage.
And he was at the building, he's been down there to look
Yeah,
at it.
you talked to me a year ago.
Yeah, but the last time I talked with Carl, he was waiting to hear back from you guys.
For what?
For
I
what?
don't, right, I don't know.
But now he's hearing from you and it's the same
Yeah, he
thing.
wanted the A2 surveys, which you found.
That was all sent
Right,
that day.
but let him know that Putnam's doing their thing, we're gonna find it, Troy's on board to start digging shit up. Oh, we're all,
We want him to finish his design. And provide the drainage.
Yeah, the elevation survey, that's what.
Yeah, that was,
all right. And now we just, with the new mold report, that the level of intensity is increased, so. Something we gotta do, all right.
Just a throwback for a moment to a previous conversation.
You know what I'm saying?
It looks like CIP probably settled year one of the plan at the February 21st meeting. I've been through all the meetings, January, February, and March. While listening, so I may have missed it, but the minutes are not super clear on the decision making. There's a lot of conversation about the 200,000 in here at February 21st. So I will watch the video of the meeting. And
That's tedious.
I know, I don't want to, but the minutes are not clear on what we're looking for.
You know,
So the February 21st meeting,
It looks like the February 21st meeting is where they decided on how to construct year one, and then they started moving on to the later years of the plan. So I'll watch the video and see if I can find the more specific details of the conversation. I will email you the results of my.
educate me, when you say year one, what does that mean?
The year one of the 5-year plan.
Oh,
the
year one.
CIP plan.
Okay,
So it would be the year that started this July 1st.
and it also starting 7/1. Okay,
24.
24, all right,
Yes,
cool,
yes.
all right. Excellent. All right,
Where are we in there?
well, that was it for new business, old business is, well, 3 bids for staff housing unit, what do we have one, Mike, didn't you say one person got back to you with a fairly formal
So,
proposal?
so we had the. We had the price of $45,000 for the trailer. That one is off sale now, but they put another one on sale in its place. So rough numbers, 45 to 50,000 for the unit, $7,000 for delivery.
Is that written, is that any kind of a proposal or an email or?
I had, it's like an email, then another question, then another email, and then the guy who was gonna do the install said figure on a maximum $30,000. He just told me that on the phone.
Okay, would you be willing to get them to put something in writing that I can present to the Board of Finance? One bid's fine, I don't care. You sure we'd like 3, we couldn't get them, so. Or you could forward you're doing a lot of work and I know you.
Well, no, these people call me back on a regular basis,
Oh,
so
good.
we're gonna buy something.
Okay, good.
If I just wait a few days, one of them, they're gonna.
Alright. Then just say, hey, can you put it all in writing and with cost delivery, full specs?
Yeah.
Then, okay, and I'm gonna put that on you, so.
Did you, chief, did you have one of the mobile home companies gave you a price?
I have that, I'll forward it to, I think I sent it to you.
Oh, you may have sent it to me already?
Yeah.
Okay,
So you have something in writing?
Yeah, but they won't give us, they want a lease only.
Oh,
it's
that was
like
them.
deal.
That's fine.
that was the lease only one, right?
That's all right, it's just something to talk about, it's a talking point that we don't recommend the lease, but at least we.
Can you just make sure that gets forwarded to him, and I'm gonna pull together the one from American or whatever it was, and I'll get it to him also.
Okay. And then, item B of old business was ongoing analysis of current and future emergency service and fire departments. I think we're doing that all the time. I was, when I walked away from the meeting last week, I'm thinking, we're gonna learn a lot. I mean, I'm already learning a lot just by looking at what has to be done to Station 13. And, I think, it popped up something where, you know, how you search for things on the internet and then you get all this other stuff keeps coming at you. So I don't think I saw any new fire department building that was not a drive-through building. They fully recommend drive-throughs, backing, accidents, all those reasons. And none of our facilities would seem to be an easy transition to a drive-through, but that would seem to be the very important thing. So,
Nice.
as, I'm sort of going under the assumption that the Station 13 can be saved as a garage. I'm pretty sure, reasonably certain that with proper mold mitigation, good drainage to keep it from coming back, you could probably use it as a garage, a heated garage. Maybe it wouldn't be as warm as it used to be, but at least it would be serviceable. And emergency services could get back to some sense of normalcy with a dormitory. So I don't think we're ignoring B. I think it's sort of concurrent, but I think that should be, at least that's on my mind as I watch the experts, that if, again, I'm confident the building will be able to be used. Actually watching what everyone does to make that work will give insight as to what a new facility might need. And I'm just throwing that out there, and if we can look at it that way and say, okay, we're basically almost creating a new type of fire station out of Station 13 than what used to be. So something to think about. So we're not ignoring B, we just don't really have a lot on there. Culvert inspection action plan, I think we're all over that, I can probably take that off. And then maintain focus on accessory.
Hang on.
Yep.
But
Okay,
if you just jump off the agenda item, no one else gets a chance to comment on it.
that is very true.
So. This is another circular conversation about doing the building study. We have people who love the idea, people who hate the idea. I understand all the points. We have had conversations about what's the best thing we could get out of it, what's the value of it. We also had the conversation about an alternative plan through Mike. The information that Mike brought us. What did we learn about that?
Nothing, that the Board of Finance didn't really seem to have an open mind to do anything. They
To even spend $1,000 to have.
But that's what they want us to spend the money on.
Well, I know, but when I said that, they go, well, we don't, I think it was, I don't remember who it was. Said, Andy, I think your scope is too small. What will that $1,000 study really give you? This money was for in-depth analysis. They didn't think, they kind of said, we're not doing our job. I said, all right, fine. Well, I'm sort of leaning towards this standardized station location study, because it's a launch, and I know we've had all these other ones done, so I do wanna bring that up and move it forward. I don't wanna waste money, but if the people that are writing the checks need something concrete that is in 2024 with a date on it from a unbiased third party.
So
If they
could
need
we at
that,
least,
then we should get that.
so. There are two things I wanna discuss. First of all, we talked a lot about what's the best thing that could happen with it, or what are the good reasons for doing it. I've been tossing this around in my mind, what's the worst thing that happens if we do this? Look at it from the other point of view, I could call it playing devil's advocate. The worst thing that could happen is, as Tyler has illuminated, you spend taxpayer money on the study and you don't use it.
Yeah.
That's a bad thing, so we have to think about that. The other worst thing is the elephant in the room when you're dealing with the two fire departments, is that the study tells the people in the fire department's information they don't want to hear. And that could happen to either department.
And that came loud and clear from the Board of Finance the other night.
Right, so if, for example, because it's an easy one to pick out, because one of the critical differences in the services the two departments provide is Wellington One provides ambulance service for the whole town, Wellington Hill obviously does not. So that's one of the big differences. If the study says the ambulance should be in the center of town, it would be better in the Wellington Hill Firehouse, that's terrible for Wellington One because it messes up their operation. It's terrible for Wellington Hill because they don't want the ambulance, right? So. No, we don't want it, that's the point, right? So. I think we have to get all these things out and we gotta figure out a path forward, whatever the path forward is, and. The other thing that maybe we could do is take baby steps towards it, and maybe if the committee is okay. We could ask for actual proposals from the people who do this study. Not make any commitment to doing the study, but ask for the actual proposals and get the proposals in, and then when you go to the Board of Finance, you can say. Here's, consulting company, do we feed them and how,
I think that's an
and this is
excellent
their
idea.
price, this is their scope of work, and this is their price.
Okay, how do we make that happen?
I think it's pretty easy, it's a standardized thing, I think it's pretty easy to put it out there and say, we want companies to give us a proposal.
Yeah, we need,
What's that?
we need an RFP, a request for proposal.
We need, yeah, but we don't need to ask anybody permission except right here.
Yeah.
We just need a motion and we need to vote on it. I think it's a great idea. Did I just hear a motion in there somewhere?
Well, hang on, we got to figure out what the motion's gonna be for though, what, is it to write an RFP?
To write an RFP for, to the various people that do these things for a
Station location study
station
is what it's
location
called.
study per the coverage standard.
Standard,
Yep,
Okay. how about
yes, that was the motion.
It would just be station location, nothing else.
Well, it's called a station location study. I've handed out the scopes for you before. It's a standardized thing.
It's very long, it's lots of information, it's not just specifically a pinpoint on an application study.
Right.
no, it's not.
Lots of-
It's culture, it's
Okay.
trends, it's a
Okay.
whole lot of things.
It's not just an analysis of the data where we have.
No, it goes beyond that
Okay,
and, right.
and and whether. Yeah,
And those have been sent out, right, to the, are they
Yes.
on the thumb drive or
I
are they
think
done by
they were
email?
emailed out.
They were emailed.
I had them all in the thumb drive.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
At least
this
all the ones
different
I have.
than the $30,000?
That's the $30,000 test, it's the same thing we've been talking about.
Yeah. I'm just, I agree, I mean, I feel what Tyler's saying. But when I look into the eyes of people that are not in tune with this or looking at it from a different perspective, they need something.
It costs us nothing to get the proposals
It
in the
costs nothing
press,
to get the proposal.
Right.
So,
then you got something to look at.
alright.
You have a grasp of what it entails. Mike, I have a question for you on the station location study. Is it information at a particular point in time? Does the evolution of demographics affect that 5 years down the road?
Well, as we talked about ad nauseum, the data study is the last 5 years. Right, so that's what they can study, because they can't study the future data, right? We haven't had it
Obviously.
yet. But they do, and it depends, if you read different ones, there's a different amount and different way that they say it. But they talk about future, where do you, like, if you read some of them, they talk about, well, in this particular town, there's a huge trend of development in this region of the town. So we expect the data that we're seeing in the last 5 years to start drifting towards that side of town. Because as the population increases, there's gonna be a shift and maybe the heat map, the bubble starts to move, the colors change
Yeah.
in that direction. So there's that kind of information. Fortunately, in Wellington, that's fairly easy for the consultant because we're a land of steady habits around here and subdivision happens slowly here, and even when it happens, it's 10 houses maybe, so it's not a huge shift.
Well, perhaps, but if you look at the largest parcels of undeveloped land in Wellington. They're basically under one owner,
Yeah, one or two, yep.
and that's not gonna last long.
Well, no, South Wellington, some of the lots in South Wellington have been shifting in the last couple of months.
No, I'm looking at the major parcels.
Yeah.
It's,
Yep,
and I'm not gonna name names.
no,
We
we
all
all know
know,
what we're talking about, yes,
okay, and it's under various subsidies too.
yes. But like the properties down on Route 32, behind Cable Tech just sold and some other stuff, so there's some movement.
That's industrial.
Yes, but industrial can lead to
Okay,
call
no,
volume,
you're-
can lead to emergency calls, depending what gets put there.
Right.
It's not just new houses, is there an industrial facility that
And
draws a lot of activity?
Behind FedEx.
Yeah.
It's 300 and some odd acres there, that's what the eyes there.
Yeah, I mean, FedEx and the truck stop drive a lot of call volume.
Behind Mole Station, on 32 and 84.
Yeah.
Where the warehouse is going. That's a lot of acreage up in there.
Alright, so motion been made to submit RFPs to interested parties.
Let's do it.
We hear a second?
Question,
What?
can we write an RFP or is that's gotta come through the town?
I think we can write an RFP, I think you
I
just
mean,
said
we can
you
write
want a
it, but
proposal.
is that the proper, is that,
I
can
think it's
we put
proper.
it out?
Yeah, we're just gonna do it. We'll
Okay.
get our hands slapped with
The
it.
good news is this is a pretty well-defined scope of work
Correct,
already,
right,
so
right.
as long as we're following that standard.
Yes.
Basically, what we're doing is sending a thing out saying, hey, this is the town of Wellington, we want you to follow the standard, give us a proposal.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Does this mean we're abandoning the alternative for $1,000.
Not necessarily,
I don't think so.
no, because we didn't make any decision to spend or even ask for any money yet. We're just getting some proposals.
Fading into the water. Got it.
right, we're wading into the water, and and because of that, based on. The next motion will be, I wanna submit an RFP to Taish for a similar thing. So we have this data, that doesn't cost us anything.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about the mic idea for 4 or 5 weeks now, and we're not anywhere yet.
No, but just, I was very surprised at how little they thought of that. I
Me
was
too,
sort of
me too.
surprised.
Usually the
I
Board of
would think
Finance.
they would have liked it.
I thought the Board of Finance would like that too.
I know, alright.
Remember this $30,000 when you're still not collecting.
That's right, don't build a new school, we're gonna fix the old school. No, you can't have any money to fix the old school either.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, you gotta spend the 200, then they'll do it.
Yes, we found a $30,000 stuff, but we'll do it for 2.
They'll do it for 2.
It's alright, remember, these are our neighbors, they're people just like us sitting in a different city.
They were many of us.
And they were many of us.
Many of us have been at that table.
That's right, and they make decisions based on the information they have.
We're just having a little levity never hurt.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so motion's been made to submit RFPs to interested parties. Do I hear a second? Second's been made, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions?
No.
All right, you don't know, all right, Tyler. Abstain, or Tyler says nay. Well, the motion carries, Tyler.
He actually said, nay, damn it, but you just didn't hear the
Yeah.
damn it part.
There was an exclamation point, I heard it.
I heard it too. That's all right. That's all right.
All right,
Motion carries.
so you said we were all set with item C, which was the culvert inspection action plan, is that what you said?
Well, we're keeping on, because we don't really have the action plan, but we have one in the cloud right now, there's a lot of moving parts. But I do feel that once Putnam is done, it does seem like. If
A plan may come forward.
they say the catch basin's here, I think Peter will say, hey, Troy, could you dig it up? And he'll say, sure. So I think that's the action plan for
There's
now.
a trench behind the building and connect to the catch basin.
Exactly, you gotta get around.
Get some subsurface drainage in there, no matter what.
Yeah, no matter what happens, I totally agree.
You can't just go build a trench because of a leach field.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta work around that, yeah.
We'll work around.
Well, there's plumbing in there too.
Huh?
There's plumbing in there too.
Yeah.
By the leach field right into
Pipe underneath
the. Just by the leach field into the same grave. What could possibly go wrong with that?
We have a town engineer.
We have a town-
We don't have to.
That's right. Alright,
Yeah.
so, next one, I'd like to make a motion that I, send an RFP to Taish, I don't know what they are, but the company that,
Price consulting or something
Taish
like that.
Consulting that, our zoning agent, works for, to see what he would do, that he offered to do, some, sort of a mini study of calls. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Hang on, I just wanna, just for the record, it should be TYCHE Planning and Policy Group. Might as well have it right now.
I like it. Yeah, there, to Taish, TYCHE,
Planning and Policy Group.
very good. So I hear a second, all in favor?
I,
Opposed? No. Okay. Very good, all right. Okay. What's next?
Maintain focus on accessory dwelling unit cost procurement timeline. I think we covered that
I think we
already.
did that.
So I do think that the timeline, like, just making sure that I'm not like thinking out of base here, that we're not gonna put any accessory dwelling unit at station 13 if we can't get the inside of station 13 usable as like a garage space.
Correct.
There's no purpose to.
There's no point in putting
Right,
anything there
yes.
if we can't store equipment or
Right.
Okay,
In which case, we had that sort of quick panic look at the backyard down in, the village to
Right.
see if we could jam something in the backyard there.
Right, but that
And we
doesn't
did-
help our apparatus issue of like Stafford and Public Works
Right.
for winter.
We did measure that if we were to move forward with this and try to put it at station 13, it technically will fit. It's gonna be right at the road.
Well, and it may affect which size trailer, like there may be variations in the trailer sizes that might fit that spot better.
Correct.
But at least if we have a reasonable price to work with that we can try to get approval for,
sure.
then we can narrow down the details.
For that site, it's just because of where septic is,
Yeah.
propane, and what you have to have for setbacks, it'll be pretty darn close to that road.
So I do feel like the setback maybe can be, I think you said it's like not even, it's not.
The entire lot is only what, 60 feet wide or something,
Right.
It's not an accessory dwelling unit.
It's not an accessory dwelling unit.
10 feet from the propane tank.
But propane tanks can be moved, leach fields can be, a lot of stuff can
As far as
happen.
it has, a little bunch of
Some
Jersey
have
barriers
them,
out
so
there.
Yeah, just
they
to
want
keep
to
people
look it up.
running into it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's other stuff for that.
Yeah, 10
Tanks
feet
can
to
be
the
moved,
propane.
propane tanks can be moved, all kinds of stuff can happen, so if it has to. Just throw money at it.
So as long as the like feasibility of from Service Master, sound like I'm talking Serco, like that's going forward concurrently with like
Yes,
this not accessory dwelling unit.
and I'll get ahold of Peter tomorrow and say we need to break that up.
Cause then we're kind of back to square one.
Yeah, we don't wanna be back to square one. All right.
And then the last thing you had in there was press release, presentation for boards, town meeting, so we've already talked about presentation for the board, just to kind of keep us moving.
yeah,
We probably don't have enough action yet to be doing a presentation of our progress, or
I think
do we?
we do, I think, I absolutely think we should, I think that would be part of the presentation about everything
We've
we've done.
almost made some progress.
So certainly the presentation from Service Master is kind of like, obviously they're not us, but that presentation or meeting or whatever it was. With all invested parties, that kind of is like presentation to
It
the
is
board.
kind of a
Because
presentation.
our main
Yeah.
reason for that was not to communicate progress, but more of like to communicate reason for existence and
Yeah.
urgency.
As a suggestion, Mr. Chair, you may want to suggest to Pete that perhaps calling a special selectmen's meeting. And formally inviting members of the Board of Finance would be more appropriate. And that way it's much more publicly,
Right.
publicly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, instead of just having a meeting that in Pete's office of 3 or 4 people.
No, I think a special meeting, I do
And
a
that way-
formal special meeting with an
It's
agenda.
noticed, it's out there and everybody does it a formal agenda. or
Absolutely.
whatever, you get-
And the word will spread better too, because people in those groups will say, hey, you might be interested in this meeting to someone they know in town.
Or I would just advise him out. That when this meeting is happening, let him know that there will be a sizable, decent audience. They'll be doing.
Yeah, don't let the guy, yeah, exactly.
I don't speak in front of
I think
people.
that's good.
Well,
So.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good idea, and then maybe if you're interested in it, Mr. Chairman, and Pete's interested in it. An item on the agenda after that presentation could be a brief progress report on where we are.
There you go.
And say that here we are, a big part of what we're dealing with right now is this topic that you heard about tonight.
that would be a
And
great.
here are the
segue.
solutions we're working on, and here's what we think is coming next.
That would be a.
It would be a perfect time to put that in there, you could do it all in 5
It
minutes.
makes perfect sense to me. Okay,
Cool.
I'm gonna mention it to both Bruce and Peter that we should probably have a special joint meeting with anyone that can attend. It may not be a full Board of Finance, but maybe it will be, who knows, I don't know what their time's like, maybe they can make it. But at least we should have both all parties that are able to be present, should be present for the Serpro meeting, and then, so when they present, then if you were available, I wouldn't mind backup,
Yeah.
but, then we could do the same thing, we can do a segue right into what our progress has been, where we're at, and how we're dealing with that very problem, and ultimately the solution to provide emergency services. Gotta roll it all into one. And that would be great, even, and again, I don't mind any presentation. Probably gonna have to do it a couple of times anyway, so every opportunity means, but the first.
Well, it's an opportunity to get it out there and then we may hear feedback
And keep tuning it up,
afterwards
right, you keep
and learn
tuning it
something
up,
from
and you
that.
realize, like, yeah, it does, I mean, I think both, we were both surprised with the feedback we got from Board of Finance, so it tempered how I'm gonna represent things next time. But I didn't know, so how do you find out? That's it.
Are you gonna walk in like Eeyore?
Whoa, it's. Whoa, Jimmy, no. No, I'm very upbeat, I'm very positive.
Less low and more go.
There you go. Alright, what's next? We good? We have action items, we made motions,
No
in
correspondence.
spite of
What would the potential
Mike
joint meeting?
saying we're not
be?
getting anything done, I think we're getting stuff done.
When-
I didn't say we're not getting anything done.
Well, you
We're not getting a lot done. We're getting closer.
When might the joint meeting be?
I mean, it's gonna be winter. We're still gonna be talking about getting a trailer and it's gonna be winter, right?
I mean, that's, well, maybe we're gonna have to change that dynamic, however we can, but unfortunately, it takes a lot of dialogue to change.
It does.
The dynamic and to change the culture, so. It isn't simple, and we can't just do it, we have to work through others.
Can I answer Pete's question really quick about the meeting? So we had requested it for next week, Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in there.
Okay. All right, so,
Is that the next regular selectmen's meeting?
No, the
No.
regular selectmen's meeting was a week after. We had asked for it to be a special meeting just to go over this topic.
Cool.
It wasn't.
all right, but I will.
And the town offices are not open tomorrow, so an agenda's not going out tomorrow.
So I guess is,
So if the meeting can't happen until a minimum Tuesday, maybe Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Well, I'll be here first thing Monday morning to get things moving. Not here, up there. And, cause I'll call it tomorrow, but I'll show up on Monday.
All right, the meetings are great, but I think it's, or having a potential meeting, but getting Carl going, getting Troy going.
Yeah,
I
These
think
are all
are
working.
key in terms of concrete activity.
I totally agree.
Parallel efforts.
Yeah, parallel, yeah, power is fast and everybody, yeah, I do think that the culvert thing, I know Peter's high for it, so. I don't think that's a problem, but it's just a matter of waiting for the right information to come back from the various people we got looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, Pete can help with the, getting told for us now.
Absolutely,
Troy's gonna do whatever Peter tells him to.
that's right. Okay. We come to item X, adjournment.
You should ask for president to speak.
Oh,
I do have one last thing on present to speak.
yes,
Not regarding the committee, but I'm gonna put a plug for both fire departments. Next Friday on the second. Both fire departments are hosting WTIC 1080 in Channel 3 at Station 49.
okay,
We're doing a pancake breakfast from 7 AM to 10 AM, something like that, 7 to 9, 7 to 10. To benefit the Connecticut Firefighters Memorial, they're gonna do the radio show live from the firehouse starting at
Nice.
5:30 AM.
For
okay,
anyone who is listening to this, that's 24 Old Farms Road.
right. Station 49, 24 Old Farms Road, Pancake Breakfast, the date again,
The church.
August 2nd.
August 2nd,
That's the church.
No.
Across the
Fire
street.
station.
nice. And, the times again?
Starts at
7
7 AM.
to 9.
No, I thought you said 10.
10.
Good,
So that's
7 to 10, WTIC will be broadcasting live.
And all the proceeds go to the Connecticut Firefighters Memorial.
All appropriate events. Are you publishing that on the town's website or anything?
It's on the Facebook pages and all that stuff. Pete. Just, I know this may be deeper than you wanna think about it right now, but just remember. With a couple odd exceptions, every road, the end closest to the town green is the lowest number, and starting at that end evens on the right.
Thank you, Ned BB.
Thank you.
So the church, St. Jude's Church can't be an even number, can't be 24.
Wait,
Old Town's going.
The whole town except two roads that were done backwards by mistake.
what's the road?
Daleville
Yeah,
School.
yeah, that, well, that's what,
Daleville
that was my
School.
specific point of contention, I was like, no, my parents' house is on the right, they're not a number.
That one was done wrong, and there's one other road somewhere that's backwards.
Yeah, and, you know, 32 and 74 done kind of goofy. but-
Well, 32 and 74, they had to pick an end.
Yeah, they picked
Yeah.
it at Mansfield that came.
Yeah, what determines the end? What?
They just had to pick an end.
Oh, whatever.
To start
end-
from.
Whatever end.
They started-
So they went south to north
Okay,
on Route 32, and they went east, or west to east, I guess.
so when you're at the low number, you know that was the end.
There's the
That they
beginning of the
picked.
road. Yeah, that was the end of the
Beginning,
fix, yes.
Interesting, I
So
never,
every other road, the end closest to the town green is the beginning of the numbers.
okay,
That would put even on the right, going in that direction below the high. And every 100 is a mile.
okay.
So 24 Old Farms Road is a quarter mile. From the beginning of the road.
That I-
6 miles.
That I knew about the distance.
There's actually a system to the system.
to find people's houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah,
So on
that's when my homestead went from 286 to 12.
Yes, yes, because some people had made up their own numbers.
No, it was all from Stafford,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
because
Well, some people made up their own numbers. There was a house on Navratil Road that the guy was a professor and he thought that he needed to have a street number when he had colleagues send him mail. So he made up a number that he liked and it was number 1,000,
Get back to.
which of course would be 10 miles in the current
That's just
system.
118. Because giving us that. That's our zip code. But, we'll say
Those are 600 phone,
Yeah.
In 684 phone numbers, right?
Yeah, I think that's that.
the 684s went on turnpike to Ashford.
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
Next meeting is August 8th at 6:30.
August 8th, yep. Okay, and same.
Says here.
Yep, isn't that right? Got that right. Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Sure, I'll take one of those. So moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, we are adjourned. Thank you all. That's a very good question. I'm going away. I'll be available next week. I won't be around this week.
That's fine, I've got a family emergency tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then Monday and Tuesday of next week, but I will be out of town. I'll be out of town during the day, I will be evening.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday, that's fine.
Yeah, Tuesday would probably be better.
Can I contact you through your town?
Yeah, why don't, do you wanna text me instead?
Where am I? Okay. I'm putting you in that time chat.
Did you stop, you didn't stop the recording yet?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, please stop the recording as I'm about to give out my telephone number.
There you go. Click, click,
Oh, no.
and then yes.